Hello, welcome everyone. Chris Petrie here. Thanks for coming by. We're just here in the studio and we're doing another beautiful composition, a beautiful glazing technique tutorial here. So we're just going to actually cover the beautiful glazing technique, which is basically doing a first wash of light colors. So here you can see the light background colors, the purples, the blues, the oranges, the golds, and then we have the dark background hill here and the dark tree. So we do the light first, and then as the painting starts drying, we come in and we start doing those darks with that luscious, beautiful greens and browns for the foreground here and the distant hill too as well. And then once this all dries 100%, then we come back in and we do our tree. We do our beautiful limbs and twigs and our brush and our leaves on our tree. And this painting only takes 20 minutes, 15-20 minutes, and you have it. So let's get excited. You're going to learn how to do the glazing technique, do this beautiful sunset scene with a gorgeous tree. We'll zoom in just a little. You can work from this if you want. So you can work right from this painting if you like, or you can just work along with it. We do the sketch, so you'll see the pencil sketch first, but essentially this is the finished painting. And this is something you can work from if you want, or else you can go in and work from the sketch first and the pencil drawing and then work along with us as we paint it. But really this is something fun you're going to learn, and it's really important because this is the glazing technique. Most all watercolor artists use the glazing technique, especially professional watercolor artists. You'll always see them using the glazing technique because it works even if you're going to paint in a different style or technique other than glazing technique. You're still going to kind of use these fundamental ideas of getting something down first and letting it dry and going over top with the paint, thicker, darker paints on top of those subsequent washes. So what I'm saying is this technique, if you learn it, it'll just be a part of your repertoire, and you'll be able to use it anytime you want, no matter what style you're using or whatever techniques you're using in your watercolor. You'll have this. So everybody enjoy this video, and we'll be right back. We'll get started. Hey everyone, thanks for coming by again. We have another exciting video here, and really this is going to be a fantastic way to learn the glazing technique really quickly, and it's just going to take a few minutes or so. We're not going to go into a long video. We're going to just make this really short. We're going to keep this really simple. So we're going to do the glazing technique, and essentially you'll see how simple it is and how fun it is, and you'll be able to create this painting in like 15-20 minutes. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is, for the glazing technique, is realize that we're going to have to do a pencil sketch real quick just to get some ideas down on our paper, unless you're doing a scene or something where you don't need to do any sketching, where it just might be some clouds or a sky or some ocean and sky. You might not need to do any sketching or pencil drawing for those type of paintings, and you can do those, and that's fine. You might not have to pencil draw, but in this one, let's pencil draw just a little bit, just to get a few ideas down. And we're going to just do a simple tree with a distant mountain and a beautiful sunset sky. So let's do it. Let's try it. You saw the finished painting just a second ago. So let's get started here. We're going to grab our pencil. I'm going to use a Statler, this is a Mars Lumograph Statler pencil. It's you can find these online. They're very popular. Many artists use these. They come in sets of like 10, so you can get 10 different style leads in your pencils. Some are very soft, some are very hard leads, so some will be very dark. You put down a line and it's very dark. For this one happens to be a darker, softer lead, an 8B. And then you have some of the harder leads. So, but this one is perfect. Let's use this. So we're just going to get down a quick sketch here. Let's get a beautiful, maybe just a nice sloping mountain range here, just like this. And we'll just slope it to the right, and that's all, just like that. So we're going to want it slightly sloped, as we just said. We can take a ruler just to kind of show. Let's make our border here. So this is the border of our paper, like this. This is our rectangle, like that. And we're making the slope of this distant hill like this. At a touch of an angle. See how that angle is? A very soft angle. And that's really it. That's that simple. A little bit of a soft angle, a slight angle for your distant hill. That's the first thing we'll draw. Then we're going to put our tree here. We're going to make a nice tree here. We'll make it come right up like this, and then maybe it's going to go off on the, and we'll make the branches go up like so. And we'll just make a couple like that. We're going to make a real simple tree like that. That's all we need. And we'll put some, some leaves on it too. So we'll just do a couple areas of leaves. So we'll just do a little shading just to kind of say to ourselves, all right, let's put some shading in there just so we know where we're going to put some of our leaves on this tree, like so. And I think that's all we really need. Very simple, very basic. That's our pencil sketch. So we have our pencil sketch down of our subject matter, a nice tree here, and we're going to have a beautiful sunset sky, oranges, yellows, purples, and then we're going to have like some dark greens and blues and browns for our distant hills here, and we'll have some foreground weeds. Maybe we'll use a Hockey brush. So we're going to use a Hockey brush. We'll use that for some of the weeds in the very, very foreground here. And then this hill is more in the distance. So this tree is coming down here. So we're going to have the tree trunk coming down this way. It's going to be a little thicker at the base here of the. So you just want to kind of cover all your bases before you begin your painting. You want to kind of check it out and say, all right, well, is my tree looking good? Yeah, we got some thick trunk. We don't want to make everything thin lines. Does that make sense? So the trunk of your tree needs to be a little thicker. Then you get thinner. Your branches get thinner as they go up. That's fine. We have that. Then we also put a little bit of brush, a little bit of leaves on our tree just here and there. It's going to be kind of like a sunset scene, so this is going to be all darks. And our sky in the background is going to be oranges and reds and some purples. You'll see that as we go. So I think we have this really sketched out correctly. See how simple that is? All right, so perfect. We got our sketch done. We're good. First part complete. Now, second part is going to be wetting the paper and doing our washes. So before we do that, let's take a break, and just so we can take a little rest now. We've done our drawing. We did some layout here. It's always good to take a couple breaks here and there as you're working. Maybe every 10, 15, 20 minutes you want to take a break. Kind of helps, just to replenish your concentration levels. Does that make sense? Are you with me on that? Raise your hand if you're with me on that. All right, good deal. All right, so fantastic. We're going to take a break, and then we'll come right back. And hey, I always mention this, all my videos, you always hear me say, hey, subscribe. Right there on the right-hand side below here, that little red button, subscribe button, hit that subscribe button. So every week we're here, we're painting, we're drawing, we're sketching, we're creating all kinds of wonderful watercolor paintings. You want to be with us to learn. You can just watch. You can learn by watching. You can learn a tremendous amount of things just by watching. And then also, too, you can pick up your pencils and your brushes and your paints, too. Whenever you feel like you want to paint, join along and paint with us. Or if you want to just watch, that's fine, too. But anytime you watch our videos and you're hearing all of this information, it's going to translate into better paintings for you. So whenever you're picking up your brushes, your pencils, your watercolor paper, your paints, and you're working, all of these videos that you watch are going to be helping you to get better and better and better. And that's why I'm here. I want you to get better at your watercolors. Get excited. You're going to learn something in this video already. We've got the first phase done, pencil drawing complete. Then we'll come back, we'll get our glazing, first glazing done, and then we'll go on from there. But again, if you subscribe, it's great, and you hit those notification bells. There's a notification bell when you hit subscribe. If you hit notifications, all notifications, this way you just know each time when I make a new video, you're going to be alerted, and you'll know that we've made a new video. You can check it out quick. Maybe you don't want to watch it. It might not be a particular subject matter you like, but hey, next week I might be doing flowers or something else you love, so you can watch that video. So get excited. We're here for you every week painting, and I want to thank all my subscribers that have been here for many years, as well as the new people that are here. Welcome. Thanks for coming by, and all of you, thank you so much for all your beautiful comments that you make. I'm always looking forward to your comments, and I thank you that you always give me a lot of well wishes each week as we paint. So thank you, and we'll see you in just a second. All right, it's Chris, and we're back again. Hey, everybody, thanks for coming by. And we're getting back started again here, so we just took a quick break. That was the main thing we wanted to say, is take breaks, have a little bit of a stretch, or relaxed. If you stand when you work, you might want to sit down and relax for 5-10 minutes. Or if you're sitting, you might want to stand up, stretch a little bit. However you work, always remember it's always good to take a few minutes of a break here and there as you're working through your watercolor. Really helps a lot. Really helps to re-energize, refocus. Sometimes, you'll take a break and you'll come back and look at what your painting is looking like and say, oh, I'm going to change something because I think it would look better if I do it that way or this way. Does that make sense? So it's always to your advantage to take breaks as you work. But if you don't want to take breaks, that's fine too. You might have more of a style where you like to just keep working straight through everything, and that's fine too. But I do find breaks for me works really well, and I always suggest it to everyone. But you're the artist. You decide how you want to work. If you don't want to take breaks, that's fine too. You might just want to work for an hour straight and you're good to go. Okay, let's get into it here. We're doing the glazing technique. So the first thing we're going to do is let's wet the paper first. So I'm just going to take some fresh, clean water. So as you can see, I have my bucket here, fresh, clean water. And I'm going to take that water and I'm just going to do a quick wash right over the paper. I'm just going to get a good coat of water on top of this Fabriano rough paper. This is Fabriano rough paper. Don't worry if a little bit of the pencil lead gets on the wash. That's no big deal. You're not going to see it in the final product. So there you go. You wet your whole paper down, and you just let that sit there for a few seconds. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix some color. So while this starts to just soak in, that light wash of water that is soaking in now, we're going to let that sit. Sometimes I'll take a paper towel and just wipe up around the outside edges. There shouldn't be a tremendous amount of water dripping all over. You just want to get a good coat of water on there. So there's not a ton of water on it. It's just a good coat of water on the paper. There we go. How simple is that? One coat of water on the paper. Now, while we let that kind of filter into the paper, soak into the paper, we're going to start mixing our washes. With watercolor, always remember when you're doing especially light washes or lighter washes, you're going to remember that it always dries a lot lighter than when you put it on. So when you're going to put on a wash, put it on really good and dark, because it's going to lighten a lot, about half. So however dark it is when you put it on, it's going to lighten up about half the amount that you're seeing on your paper when you put it on the paper itself. So that means you're going to want to really see some really good darks on your palette as you paint. So I'm going in here and I'm getting some purple, ultramarine violet, putting in that there because we're going to use that. Then we're going to rinse off the brush, and I usually keep a paper towel or a sponge or a tissue and I dry off the brush a little bit. So I dry off some of the water. I've just rinsed my brush over here in the water container, dry off a little bit of the water. Now I'm going to get our next color. Let's use some alizarin crimson. So I'm going to just go in and I'm using a square brush here, a flat brush, as you can see. Okay, Okay, and then we're going to use some cadmium red over here. Cadmium orange down there. So we're just going to mix out some colors on the palette. And then I'll rinse my brush again. And I'll go in with some cadmium yellow, like that. There we go. So you can see a little bit of cool, maybe a little bit of also some French ultramarine blue. I got a little bit of the yellow in there, no big deal. If that happens where you accidentally mix in some colors, just lift it up, clean out the palette, and just go back in and get those colors back in there. Purples. We need some purple and some French ultramarine blue. That's all. Okay, let's start out. We're going to do some red up top. And again, we're going to go dark. We want to go dark. And then we're going to get some of that purple and blue. Get some of that purple and blue there too. Let's just get it on. Get the stuff on the paper. Don't worry about it. Some blue. We're going to have a little bit of that blue. Like that. See that? So first some red and purple up top. Then a little bit of that blue and some more purple. Then we're going to start getting into our oranges and reds. Wow, look at that. Now remember, a little bit of brown in there too. I want to get some of that brown. There we go. And then some of that yellow, cadmium orange. Just like that. You see how quick we did that? Look at that. It's going to dry lighter, don't forget. So we'll get some more yellow in there. And you can't go over this too many times. You just want to kind of leave it. So as you go, a little bit of brown into that purple and blue. Purple and blue with a little bit of brown, just to get that little darker feel there. And the key is not to keep overworking it too much. And that's all we should really do now. We have to let it go at that point. But we can start working in some darks. While it's still wet, we're going to go with some brown, burnt umber, some French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, and sap green. And let's get that in here, this really dark. Wow, look at that. Is that great or what? Look at that dark. Burnt umber, French ultramarine blue, sap green. Okay, we're going to leave it lighter up at the top. And then as we get down here toward the bottom, a little darker. Like that. And there we have it. Okay, now this is the fun part. When you're using the glazing technique, you let this dry now. So you take a break and you let this dry 100% until it's completely dry, so that you could rest your hand on the paper and it's totally dry. So that means it's at least probably a half an hour to an hour. Or you can use a blow dryer. Sometimes I use a blow dryer. The painting will look better. I always say this. The painting will always look better if you let it naturally dry and let all the paint and the water soak through the paper into the fibers of the paper. That's going to have a better looking painting. But if you're in a rush for time and you're just doing a composition like we are here, this is not a gallery painting, right? I'm not making this for a gallery right now. I'm just, doing this for our YouTube video here. So I'm not really, I'm not going to bring this to a gallery and say I'd like to put this in, in the gallery, or I'm putting it into a show, or something like that. I mean, eventually I might share this with somebody or give it as a gift or something. But what I'm saying is, we're just doing a composition here, so feel free, if you're just doing a composition and practicing, you can use a blow dryer and speed up the process. You could dry it within 5 minutes with a blow dryer and you get the same effect. It'll dry 100% and then you can start working again. But if you think you want to use this for a finished painting, or you might want to put it into a show or a gallery or give it as a gift or frame it, whatever, fine. Let it sit for an hour and a half or an hour until it's dry to the touch, where you can touch it and it's dry, and then you're good. You can then start painting again. So let's let this dry. I might use a blow dryer, but I'll do that while we're off camera so that the noise doesn't bother us and so forth. And I'll come right back and we'll finish it up. But this is pretty much almost complete. We just have to let this dry 100%, and then we'll finish our tree shapes here and our subject matter of the tree with some leaves, and we'll be good to go. Hey, it's Chris again, and we're getting started again. Fantastic. Let's finish up our composition. We're doing a tree with a beautiful sunset sky and a sloping hill, a gorgeous sloping hill, green grass, and it's getting dark. It's kind of like sunset time. You know, we're probably hearing the crickets and the exciting wildlife around, you know, making their nighttime sounds as it gets dark, and the beautiful warm sunset sky. So let's have fun here. Let's finish this, and you can see how it didn't take a lot of time and effort to really do this composition. We're using the glazing technique, and again, it's a very user-friendly technique for watercolor artists. Does that make sense? It's a user-friendly technique that, you know, for glazing, you know, just glazing is, we did a first wash like you saw here. Now that's completely 100% dry. I did use a blow dryer to dry this, but we can touch it and there's no wet paint whatsoever. And then we'll go over and do our second glazing, and that's it. We're finished with the painting, so let's get going here. All right, so I'm using my water bucket here. I'm going to use my, maybe I'll switch over here. Let me use my Raphael number 6 brush. I use this a lot. Number 6 round brush, Raphael brush. And we're going to also maybe use our Alvaro Castanet needlepoint brush too. So we're going to use that for some of our branches on our tree. So we have these two brushes we're really going to work with now to finish up our painting. The Alvaro Castanet number 10 needlepoint brush. And then we have our Raphael number 6, which is a round watercolor brush. So these two are fine. You can use whatever brushes you have. You might have some rigger brushes. You can use those too. You might have a synthetic round brush. That's fine. They all work really well. Most watercolor brushes are, you know, created to work really well with the medium of watercolor, so we shouldn't have any problems. So let's get started now. We're going to go back in. Let's get some, we're going to use this dark that we already have. We'll add some more of the same colors, sap green, French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, maybe some burnt sienna to that, some more blue, French ultramarine blue, which is a really dark blue, some more burnt umber, nice dark, beautiful dark. So we're going to do, first let's do our branches and our leaves. Actually, let's do our leaves first. So now to do your leaves on these trees here, you're going to want to hold your brush like this. So you're going to want to hold your brush parallel to the paper. So you're not going to have it straight up like this. You're going to hold your brush parallel to the paper like this. So you can hold the brush like so, so that it's just parallel to the paper. And then you can just slightly, in a circular fashion, put on some leaves on these trees here. And we're going to do the leaves first. So let's do that. Okay, I have some leaves there. And some leaves up here. Maybe a little bit over here. And you can see that I'm not. And then you can, for really small croppings of leaves on this tree, you can go back to your normal holding your brush like you would a pencil if you're drawing. So you can notice that there's two different techniques to doing trees here in this painting. Is one, if you're doing really small little bits of leaves, you can hold your brush normally like you would most times, like a pencil. But when you're doing these larger shapes of these tree the leaves on this tree, you're going to want to hold the brush like this, so that the brush is just parallel to the paper, flat. So what I mean by parallel, if you can imagine, the brush looks like this along the paper. So if this is your painting here, your brush is going to be parallel to the paper like that. And then you scrub onto the paper like that. So you got to take the brush and hold it this way and then scrub with a circular motion some of your leaves on there. That makes sense? Like that. And then if you want some really small shapes, sure, we can go back to our, like that. And that looks good. Perfect. Now we'll use the same brush, our round brush here. We'll add a little bit of water. And maybe we're just going to add a little bit of more burnt umber and French ultramarine blue. And we're going to just get a darker dark over there in the distance like that. Then what we'll do is we'll take the brush, we'll rinse it off. We'll rinse off the brush really well. Then we'll tap off some of the water on a tissue or a sponge or your apron, whatever you have. And then you just want to use that damp brush and just dampen that edge like that. Can you see that? I'm just dampening that edge and you can maybe make a little bit of some tree, a little bit of, maybe a little interesting, maybe some brush in the distance there, and trees, like that. And we give it a little bit of interesting shapes on that distant hill. Wonderful, look at that. How beautiful is that? Now, to even get more exciting, we're going to use our Hake brush. So what we do is we take this brush, it's dry right now. We're going to take it, we're going to wet it, and then we'll just check off some of that water on a sponge, on a tissue, take off some of that water, kind of dry the brush off a little bit, the Hake brush, and then splay out the hairs like so. We're going to do some grasses, some wonderful grasses. We'll do thousands of blades of grass in just a second or two. Look at this. So we'll get some more of this. French ultramarine blue, sap green. We'll mix it in with the colors we already have. We'll load up that brush like so. See how we loaded up that brush? Like that? See how that is? And then here we're going to just do some blades of grass. If we need to go darker, just go in and get some more of that French ultramarine blue, burnt umber. And that's all. Get some of those blades of grass. Look at that. Wow. Just a few, though. Don't go too many. Just a few. There we go. Perfect. Maybe I'll do just a few more along the bottom edge here. French ultramarine blue, burnt umber. Get some really good darks on your paper there, on the palette, I should say. Sap green, lots of French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, more blue. There we go. And then we just get the brush looking like this. Like that. Just to get some really nice grass shapes. There it is, perfect. Okay, I'm going to rinse off my Hake brush now and set it to the side. And the only thing left we have now is we're going to use our needlepoint brush. Let's get some darks on our needlepoint brush, and we're going to finish up doing some wonderful, beautiful. We'll use some more darks, French ultramarine blue, burnt umber, sap green, more French ultramarine blue. Let's make a really good dark here. See how dark that is? We just need it to be a little bit thicker with more paint. So we have that. We want to get lots of darks. There we go, perfect. Then we take that, we just dry off a little bit of the paint on a paper towel or a tissue. We just don't want too much on there. And then we'll just do our so I'm going to do my, there we go, that's our tree trunk. Look at that, how great that is. Now, to get the real beautiful branches that we want, and twigs and shapes of the twigs and branches perfectly, we take our brush and we hold it upright like this. So that's the technique when you're using your needlepoint brush. You want to take it and turn it upwards like this, and you want to hold it straight up like this. And then you just touch the point of the brush down onto the paper and just really lightly go up straight and get your branches. Now, isn't that perfect? Look at that. Oh, that looks great. Perfect. Wow. So you can get perfect trees with this needlepoint brush. And like that. And a couple branches go back this way. They were little branches that just had to go a different way, like that. And then you can even just make it thicker at the bottom of the tree. And as you can see, we've created a gorgeous painting using the glazing technique, which again is a very simple technique. You're getting all your first wash on, that first glazing on, letting it dry 100%, and then going over top with the darker darks. So I hope you'll have fun with this. Maybe we'll get in a few more. Before we leave, we'll just get on a few more twigs here. So that's a little branch there. Another one over here. And I think that's just looking gorgeous. Okay, have fun with this, everybody. Enjoy. It's a wonderful painting to try. The glazing technique, if you learn this technique, which you practice it a few times, I think you'll have it. You can always use this technique anytime you want. If you just want to have a fun time, create a couple beautiful paintings, you just use the glazing technique, you've got it. Okay, we'll see you on the next video. And again, please, if you haven't subscribed, if you want to watch these videos and learn a lot about watercolor, all the techniques, the methods that we use here to create beautiful and wonderful watercolor paintings, you'll learn a tremendous amount. All you have to do is click that subscribe button right down below here on the right hand side, and then you'll be notified each time a new video comes out each week. So you'll really be in the loop with all of our videos coming out. You can just watch them if you want to work along with them. That's great too. You'll be learning something new each week, and we try all different types of subject matter. So we're doing a landscape here. We'll do flowers the next time, then we'll do boats, then we'll do seascapes, then we'll do cityscapes, then we'll do some figure painting. We'll do everything in watercolor, and you can just keep following along and learn a little bit about each of the subject matter that we do. And you'll also learn always about the techniques and methods of watercolor as we go. So you'll just be benefiting each time. So if you hit that subscribe button, you're all set. You hit the notification bell. This way you know exactly when our videos are coming out, and then you can paint along with us and have a great time. And we'll just be getting better. All of us will be getting better each week as we go. Okay, so we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.